Welcome back. People are still coming in. That's good. I feel kind of that the answers to why everything is horrible right now and how to fix it, you just got in the keynote. Everything is horrible because stuff like, what was it? Pull requests and meetings and stoplights. And how to fix it, you also already know, write monads. That's pretty much it. Thank you very much. Now, we'll go a higher level, much higher. We're going to talk about code a little bit, but we're going to talk about other stuff as well. So, Enshittification. Enshittification is a fascinating word, which basically means goes to shit. And the interesting part about it that it was voted as the word of the year a couple of years ago by the Academy of English Language or something like that. And a couple of interesting thoughts about this. Wait a second, we're obligatory. All right. First of all, the choice of color for the word enshittification, I think it's very on point. And also other nominants were also very interesting on this particular year. Stuff like collapse. Well, it didn't go. Oh, anyway, enshittification. The word was invented by this guy, Cory Doctorow, who is very famous in the geek community by being geek. He's an author of sci-fi. He's also XKCD. Sometimes features him in his comics. I think that's kind of the top achievement of any geek. He also came up with the term in a broader sense that we're going to use it today. So enshittification, when platform starts to exploit its user's base at the expense of the user experience. Basically, that's kind of the quote. And the way he meant it is something like that. Platform gathers users by providing value, and then critical mass of users lock in, and then platform stops providing value, selling its users. I'm sure you can think about not only one, but multiple platforms that went through this transformation in the last decade, 15 years, whatever, right? There's some names come to mind. Well, this is definitely true because this is our observed reality. We're going to talk about something more less broad and more reducted, and that's technical enshittification. It's kind of related, but also not, because the reason why everything is bad in technology might or might not be because the platform wants to sell its users and just think about money and stuff, but also for another reasons that we're going to cover today. My name is Baruch Sadogursky. I'm at Baruch on all those platforms that you think about right now. And I'm head of developer relations in a company called TaxCare. And what we do is provide endless life support for security patches for libraries and applications, including Java. So if you are stuck on Java 8 or Java 11, and you have to use older versions of Java libraries that come with it, for example, Spring Boot 2, you are in danger, and talk to us, we will fix it. My personal journey is I started as a developer 25 years ago, and then went into DevOps with another company that you might have heard called JFrog. And recently, I got very passionate about developer productivity. This talk has to do a lot about developer productivity. Java champion, going back to the Java part, and wrote a couple of books about Java and DevOps, DevOps tools for Java developers and liquid software. But the most important slide of this talk is this. If you go to speaking.jbaruch, and thank you Switzerland for abuse of the top-level domain, you'll find the slides already uploaded there. You'll find the video that I'm just checking that I am recording right now, so you will have the video in a couple of hours. All the links for everything, including the original blog post and conference talk of Cory Doctorow about Enshittification. Fascinating read or watch, whatever you prefer. You definitely should do that. And all the links are there. QR code for you to scan right now, or conveniently in the bottom of every slide. It's right here, but also in the bottom of every slide. So QR code is going away in 3, 2, 1. All right. Yeah. So my favorite Venn diagram in software engineering is this. I will give you a second to process, and then to relate, and then go yes, yes. There is a reason for that, and the reason for that is what we will try to figure out today and what to do with it. So generally, everything is getting worse. If you feel that way, it's not only your feeling, it's objectively getting worse. Stuff like operating systems losing your files. Operating system has one job. It's a storage for files. And when it doesn't do that, it doesn't look good. Stuff like, I don't know if you ever saw advertisement by Apple. Their slogan is privacy, that's Apple. Well, kinda. A couple of years ago, they had the most horrendous privacy breach of all times in our entire industry. You probably remember there was a couple of weeks that you can call someone on FaceTime and start seeing their video before they actually accepted your call. That was pretty bad. And what was worse is that they actually didn't discover it. It was discovered by some Fortrunner's mom of teenager who was playing Fortrun when she observed him and saw that, and she actually tried to reach to Apple, and they didn't respond for a couple of weeks, not even acknowledging that it exists. And that was obviously very embarrassing for a company that claims that they run on privacy, and privacy is their bigger thing. Twitter and the X and all that, obviously we have a lot to say about whoever runs it right now, but the problem actually, one of the biggest problems begin way back. So again, I don't know if you are a user, but if you are, they have a very annoying bug with auto-scrolling. You open the app, you try to read what's on your screen, and in a matter of seconds, what's on the screen disappears, and something else, which is more updated, comes in. In 2021, Twitter support back then promised that they finally acknowledged the problem and gonna fix it. It was already there a couple of years old, so it was probably around 2017 when people start to get annoyed with it. And should I just say that until now, the problem is still there. Now, people are creative. You know what people do? They create an automation on iPhone or Android or whatever that will take a screenshot when the app opens. And then, if there was something interesting there that they were going to read, they go to the gallery, open the screenshot, and continue reading. It's that bad, yes. All right, so another company that we all know had a slogan, move fast and break things. Well, at least in the past, they did move fast. What's new on Facebook in the last 10 years in terms of technology? I don't think anyone can name at least one feature, but what they do is they break things. 30,000 current bugs on their platform open, that's a lot of bugs. I guess my favorite story of how our industry looks is the story of LastPass. LastPass is a password manager, and their single job is to protect our passwords. When they had the first breach in 2015, I was a pretty happy customer, and when that happened, I was like, okay, shit happens. They had this the security incident, but now they are going to double down on security, so I'm pretty safe. Well, they had 2021, 2022, and many more minor security breaches. Their app is about storing passwords, nothing else. Needless to say that I'm not their customer anymore, and no one that I know sticked with them after that. What else? Oh yeah, speaking about hacking, if it's down, no one can hack it. There is a company called CrowdStrike that does endpoint protection. And the best protection they can come with is taking down all the endpoints that they protect, because if it's down, no one can hack them. That happened about a year ago, July 19th. Yep, almost a year ago now. And the biggest impact was on the airline industry, especially in the United States. All the three major airlines, Delta, United, and American, were taken down for at least 24 hours. Delta had problems for a week after that. So I flew on this day, and that was absolutely surreal picture. You go through the airport, and you know how there are all the advertisements on one side and all the like arriving and departing planes on the other side, and it's all monitors running Windows. So you go through two walls of blue screen of death. That it's endless. Everything is blue ahead of you, and it's all blue screen of death. That. Yes, I did. Yeah, no, yeah, I should put it there. That was absolutely surreal. And then something magical happened. There was one airline that was not affected at all, like a major airline. It's called Southwest. And what I did when I came to United Counter, and they see their representatives, it's all blue screen of death here, it's all blue screen of death here, and I'm like, what I'm gonna do? And they're like, we have no idea. We have not even, there is no even way for us to start helping you, because all we see is blue screen of death. There is nothing we can do. And then I go to Southwest, and I'm like, well, can I buy a ticket for, like, you have a flight in 2 hours? And they're like, sure. And I flew home. Magic. This magic called Windows 3.1. Southwest runs on Windows 3.1 until today. I'm not kidding. This is the only reason why they were in down. CrowdStrike doesn't have an agent for Windows 3.1. The internet doesn't run on Windows. Yeah. So in any way, that's like, it wasn't an internet issue, because it was Windows running endpoints issue. So anyway, I flew home and everything was great, but running on Windows 3.1 is not great. And Southwest learned it the hard way, actually, a year and a half prior. They have a complete meltdown over Christmas and New Year week, that they were completely paralyzed because they run on Windows 3.1. And no modern software, airline scheduling software, knows how to run on Windows 3.1. They do it by phone. I'm not kidding. The pilots and the flight attendants actually call in on a line. There is a human on the other side of the line, and they tell them what their schedule is. Now, what happened is it was a bad weather, and there was a delay, like cascading delays, and then people that there was a crew that's supposed to board a plane, their plane is delayed. What they do is call in to ask what they are doing next. And obviously, because there was a weather front on like half of the United States, everything was delayed, so everybody called in. Obviously, the phone system completely crashed. They waited for hours on the line to get their next assignment. When they were doing that, they didn't go anywhere. So even the planes that were available, it could fly somewhere, didn't have a crew. So for a week, nothing worked. And this is thanks to not being updated on from Windows 3.1. Yeah, that's Now, this is my picture, by the way, Pasha, because my son was forced to fly on the weekend, and obviously he didn't. In any way, let's say AI. What can possibly go wrong? Will it get any better with AI? Probably not at the moment. There are already scientific research that actually prove that when we add AI, it actually produces the 40% of the code that AI produces has vulnerabilities in that. And this is for obvious reasons. AI has no idea what vulnerability, security vulnerability is and how to tackle it or prevent it. It's actually even worse. It invents new types of vulnerabilities. For example, a very clever supply chain attack that only came into existence because of AI is squatting the hallucinating package names. So AI pretty consistently hallucinates frameworks that do not exist and add them at dependencies. And then our dependency managers try to fetch those frameworks, those packages from central registry, Maven Central, NPM registry, and what's not. And some clever people think, what about they would be able to do so? And they created the packages with those names, put them on Maven Central and NPM registry, and then genuine code that shouldn't have worked because those packages did not exist, actually managed to download them, and they get security vulnerability. Sweet. Okay, so there is one story that we're going to stick with because of the amount of insider information we got about, and this is the story of Sonos' new app. So Sonos is a bunch of audio hardware equipment, like headphones and speakers and this kind of stuff. And they launched a new app May 7 last year that, according to their official press release, had a number of issues. Now, just a tiny bit of issues. This is their rating 1.2 on it, like a couple of weeks after the release. Now, the only reason why it's 1.2, because that's Google Play Store, you cannot put 0 stars. So practically it's 0.2. Well, this Sonos story is extraordinary because we have, as I mentioned, a lot of insider information on what went wrong and why, and we're going to use it when we're going to talk about the reasons. Okay, stagnation. New features. How about new features? What's new in the latest Android or iOS? Well, there is obviously the terrible redesign that's coming on iOS 2026. But aside of that, really nothing new. They're all the same, not only with the previous version, but also between each other, and nothing new happens. Windows 10 versus Windows 11. Anyone knows any difference? Except of Pasha, because he's just love to argue. Well, the users don't, and this is why that's the graph of the adoption. Adoption does not exist because if you don't know what you're going to get in a new version, you probably don't want to upgrade anyway. Speed of innovation. Now, when people decide to do something new, how long it takes them? Well, I said that slapping chatbot on it doesn't count, but even when someone decides to slap a chatbot on it, it takes ages. So Amazon Alexa promised us that they will integrate AI into the assistant back in September 2023. They announced that it comes soon, in the next few weeks. I don't have a date for it, but that's probably like 3 months ago. So I don't know how do you define next few weeks, but 3 months, it's like, what, 13 weeks or something? still not there for the majority of the people. I just heard the first story that someone actually got it, and guess what? It's pretty stupid, but that's another story. Apple tried to come up with a wireless charger. In 2019, they canceled the project because they couldn't deliver. Sorry, in 2017, they canceled the project after 2 years. 2 years of understanding that they are not capable of producing a wireless charger. That's quite extraordinary. Oh yeah, my favorite story. Who remembers that? Google improving its sign-in page with more modern look and feel, and the new look is coming soon. I remember it because I was really curious. I'm like, okay, what's going on? What's going to happen? This, what I saw when I tried to sign in with Google for months. This is what changed. They literally rearranged a couple of elements on the screen, and it took them, from the time they decided that they're going to announce that it's coming soon, months, many, many months. It is a new look. They didn't lie. Right? Well, the stories about how fast Elon's promises come through in Tesla, that's a story of its own. The first mention of autonomous Tesla vehicles was done in September 2013, 12 years ago, and promised to be delivered in 2016, 9 years ago. Needless to say, we are still not there. And obviously, Cybertruck, that was supposed to have 500 miles of range, start at $40,000 and released in 2021, was released in 2024. Had under 300 miles of range and costs 2.5 times of that. So yeah, not really close and really, really, really behind schedule. Okay, bloat. Now, what is bloat and why it's important? I can promise you one thing that you didn't expect in this talk is a quote from Stalin, but you have it anyway. So Stalin said quantity has a quality of its own. What he meant is that if he throws enough bodies of soldiers on any other technology, he will win. And the history shows that he was right. What we mean by that is something else. Quantity might have a bad quality of its own as well. What bloat does, it increases the surface of attack. Why bloat is still software's biggest vulnerability is a great blog post written recently by Daniel Zender. And what he claims is that the amount of code that we have to do anything is so insane that somewhere there are multiple ways to attack our code which is not protected, not because we don't do our job, just because this is overwhelming. Sorry, there was a... Yeah, we're likely looking at over 50 million active lines of code to open a garage door. What are the chances that there are clever avenues of attack in 50 million lines of code? The chances are there is. And garage door is an entry to our house, which is now effectively unprotected. Scary stuff. Now, if you thought that web pages are better, well, before that, Sonatype State of Supply Chain report, what? 250,000 malicious packages discovered in Maven Central. Right. The problem is that it's very hard to simplify things. It's so hard that some companies that definitely have the ability to do almost anything with software just give up. Facebook app on Android is 500 megabytes of code. Should we simplify it? Yes. Can we do it? Hell no. What we're going to do instead, we're going to do another app which does exactly the same, and it's a 1/10 of a size. because we cannot simplify this monster. So we'll just do it from start. Elephant in the room, at least by memory consumption, is obviously Google Chrome. And this is like, hey, good morning. I opened, seriously, Chrome, are you trying to render the entire internet at once? 50 gigabytes. It's for rendering pages. It's just your morning appetite. The problem with Chrome is that it's not only Chrome. Well, yeah, some memes for you, because it's fun. And yeah, so the problem with Chrome is that it's not only Chrome. Almost all the modern browsers are run on Chromium, which is Chrome, which means that almost all of them eat RAM exactly like Google does, like Chrome does. And it's not only the browsers. Every Electron app in existence is also Chrome, and this is a lot, including stuff that you use every day, like Slack and GitHub Desktop and Trello and Discord and you name it. So basically, you run multiple instances of Chrome, and every one of them consuming the 50 gigabytes for whatever they are doing, and this is a terrible bloat which just sits there on our computers. Another example of completely unjustified bloat is PDF reader. So here is a Sumatra PDF. Sumatra PDF renders PDF pages. The size of Sumatra PDF is 16 megabytes. And this is Acrobat Reader, which also renders PDF pages. And its size is 900 megabytes. Why? There are ideas. All right. Websites are not any better shape. You can see the graph. I'm not sure what happened here. This is kind of weird. Probably some measuring glitch. But the trend is absolutely unmistakable. The pages are getting larger and larger because JavaScript frameworks and what's not. But in the end of the day, it doesn't matter. This looks really, really bad. Right. Feature mismatch. When eventually features are out, those are probably not the features that we want. Example of Windows 10 and Windows 11, they removed so many features in Windows 10 and to add other features in Windows 11, and we still cannot see the difference because the features that they removed or added doesn't make any difference for us, the users, which is not a good sign. Going back to Sonos, right? Sonos said its controversial app redesign took courage, and courage here is in quotes for a very good reason. Right, and the interesting part here, in the days since, after the release, customers have complained about missing features like sleep timers, broken local music library management, and no having an ability of adding playlists. This app plays music. It doesn't have the ability to build a playlist. Speaking about feature mismatch, but they still released the new app. So now let's talk about why. Why all this is happening. So as I mentioned, Sonos gives us a window into what happened during the development of this app, and this is a very good example of what's going on in our industry. So yeah, they had whistleblowers basically that told the story. First of all, and most important, to get new features out of the door, developers have to write code. I have bad news for you, developers don't write code. They do other stuff instead. Median code time per developer a day is under an hour. This is not just you that is overwhelmed with stuff which is not writing code. This is everybody. Out of your 8-9 hours a day, you write code less than an hour. Scary? Of course. The reason, one of the reasons, is management. Because when you're in the management, you can screw up things in many different ways. Yeah, so Sonos worker, yeah, so what happened? Sonos chief product officer reportedly instituted company reorganizations that caused chaos. People have been following the story. Yeah. So basically, reorganizations just before their release. They separated people that have been working, that have been working together for years, creating great products. I don't understand what could motivate someone to shake things up. And then workers who are opposed to that been yelling and screaming at in the meetings with higher-ups. Right, so basically reorganization just before a release of a new critical app, probably not a great idea. Bad organizational habits can definitely kill developer productivity, and we have research that proves that. Dr. Gloria Mark researches attention, human attention, for more than 10 years. That's her new book that is out last year called Attention Span. Couple of interesting facts. We're going to do a quiz. First, just shout it out loud. How many times you think you look at your email during the day? Just shout. 3 times, 5 times, 20. Yeah, we ran out of hands. 20, 95, okay. 42. Yeah, obviously 42 is always the right answer. Well, more closer than 95 to anything else. 77 times a day at average. The person who said that he's looking at email 3 times a day is either outlier or doesn't realize how many times they actually do it. Okay, so another question. When you have, let's say, a build that takes longer than a couple of minutes, and you switch to read emails, one of the 77 times, how long it will take you to get back to check if the build has successfully passed or failed? 5 minutes? 26 minutes? 10 minutes? Anyone? 35. Yeah, 26 was very close, actually 25. So it takes, on average, for average person, 25 minutes to get back to the task at hand after interruption. 25 minutes. So if your build is longer than 2 minutes, how long is your build?
25 minutes.
25 minutes. That's bad, by the way. Okay, artificial deadlines. This is a very bad idea. The Art of Letting Go is a great book. The Art of Not Letting Go is not a book, but it's something that Sonos did, right? Everybody screamed at them, you cannot release this app on this date. The management didn't listen. They pushed it through. It was artificial deadline that wasn't backed by anything. They just decided they're going to release it, and that's the deadline, and we know the result. Where developers do write code, they are drawn in technical depth. Technical depth is a real problem. You can create value if you are drowning, and that's exactly what happened to Sonos as well, right? They've been building a new app on infrastructure that was 20 years old. And this is one of the reasons why they couldn't release on time. And it's not just Sonos. We have the research that says that what's the impact of technical depth from 1, no impact, to 5, significant impact. And you can see that 70% voted very significant impact or significant impact, 4 and 5. 70% of us struggle with technical debt that prevents innovation. That's a lot. Onboarding time for a new developer is a great proxy metric for the amount of technical debt that you want. Time to first commit as a metric works with almost 100% correlation between this and technical debt. I recommend you start measuring it. If you don't, this is very enlightening. Much more bad code, because AI generates bad code, garbage in, garbage out, and other research, 65, 46, and 31% of the time. This is the amount of time that AI got it right. So on average, 50% of the code AI generates actually generates code that is completely wrong. And AI gets creative with technical depth. AI actually invents 4 new technical depth types that didn't exist when only humans wrote code. Now we have it thanks to AI. And obviously, complexity is the enemy of productivity, right? And security is a great example of that, because security is an extremely complicated topic that most of the developers are not proficient in. And when we have to deal with it, this is one of the reasons why we fail. And wrong features, as I already mentioned, because how the product managers know what the customers want? They don't. Product management is mostly guesswork. That's a survey that was supposed to show us how good the product managers are. And you can see here that 45% creating and modifying products and services based on analytics. What does it mean? More than a half of product managers, 55%, don't do that. And if they don't use analytics, what do they use? Guesswork. They just guess. They just guess, 55%. That's amazing. So one of the things, let's just do the current thing. For example, TikTokification of everything. Every app will becomes a TikTok now and do exactly the same thing. And this is scary. AI assistants everywhere, obviously. I recently discovered that I have AI assistant in my WhatsApp. If I scroll down to the list of contacts, there is Meta AI here, and apparently I had some conversation with it. I obviously never opened it, so I have no idea what this is about. But it heard something and it replied to me with something. I have no idea what's going on. All right, let's fix some of it in the remaining 7 minutes and 40 seconds that we have. First of all, not everything can be fixed, and not everything can be fixed by us. And this is where we need to understand what battles we can pick, and I will give you some of the battles that are definitely in your control and can definitely make your life easier. So first of all, productivity. Basically, how can we write more code? Remember the build that takes 25 minutes if it's longer than 2 minutes? Keep it 2 minutes. Faster feedback, fast fixes. If you minimize the loops, you will have better code because you know what you did wrong faster and you can react. Automation is absolutely critical, and this is your domain. When you say, well, this is how we always done it, it's manual. No, go for it and change it. And you know what? Use AI to write a script. It will be much faster, and it's not production critical. So if AI makes mistakes, it's not the end of the world, but automate everything that you can automate. Power naps. You didn't see that coming. Sleep is the only way to restore mental capacity. Power nap is a hack that allows you to restore much more mental capacity than the amount of sleep that you give. You don't need 8 hours to restore 80% of your mental capacity. You can do 20 minutes. Distractions. Distractions are obviously terrible. I don't need to tell you that. What I can give you is a couple of tips of how to do it. This is one of my favorite apps of all times. It's called Reclaim AI. And that's a calendar manager that is smart enough to do 2 impossible things. From one side, it protects your time. You can define how much focus time you need during a day or during a week, and it will do its best to give you this time. But then you can say, you know what? I don't need anything smart. I can just block my entire calendar. 9 hours every day I block, and I won't be distracted. But you know that it doesn't work that way. People need your attention. People need to meet with you. The only question is, how do you do it smart? So Reclaim will give you focus time, but also will make you available as much as possible. The way it works is your calendar looks open to everybody. But as meetings start to pile up, it will start blocking the critical time that you need, up to a point that in the end of the day, people won't be able to block more meetings this week and will have to use the next week that will again, in the beginning, will look completely open. That's very smart. There is some AI in it, but that's not what I mean by I say use AI smartly. So there are a lot of AI tools that actually help us. And picking the right ones for a job, the correct job is critical. And specialized autonomous agents are a very powerful way to utilize AI smartly. And obviously, local networks are less wasteful than general networks, and sometimes this is exactly what you need. Couple of examples that I find very productive is agentic agents, as I mentioned, stuff like JetBrains Juni and Windsurf and agent mode with VS Code allows us to let AI create code for us. It doesn't remove our responsibility or our expertise to find the 50% code which is wrong and actually make it right. But again, this allows us to generate code smartly and a lot. And cursor is also there, obviously. Right? Keep AI in check, right? That's the big part. How do we prevent AI from generating 50% of wrong code? We don't let it hallucinate by using MCP servers that will give structured response instead of just any information out there. And the most important MCP server out there that revolutionized of how AI generates code called Context 7. Context 7 allows AI to get up-to-date documentation at code samples from the official documentation instead of hallucinations or general search that will yield wrong results. This what makes AI get it right on a first try every time. Trust me, I tried it. It's magic. Others, GitHub, again, we use GitHub a lot. Instead of letting AI guess what is the right flags on bisect command, you can just use MCP server that will do the right thing. And Playwright, MCP, that was used to be Puppeteer, gives AI the ability to test visual code. It can open up a browser, run applications, take screenshots, and then know what it has done so it can fix it. All three are the most critical MCPs of today's AI to make it do the right thing and make you productive. Agile. Well, yes, you all know Agile, and why would anyone bother with Agile in 2025? That's not what I think. The Agile that I'm going to mention is not the Agile that you think about. I'm talking about the basic principles of Agile, not the Scrum daily meetings and what's not. And just to remind you, what are the basic principles of Agile? React, code is better than meetings. Do the right thing and then fix what needs to be fixed. Decide late but not too late. This is critical. When you need to make a decision about something, you defer it until the last possible moment, because this is where you will have more information. But then you decide and you do the thing and react. And make choices that are easy to undo. This goes into project management as well. Small experiments are the way to win. You try stuff, and if it doesn't work, both in technology or user interaction, you just try something else, and done is better than perfect. Do something instead of being in the decision paralysis. Mark Schwartz is one of my favorite authors of the topic of Agile, but in the broader scheme of things. He wrote a lot of books. If you need to pick just a couple to read, I would recommend The Art of Business Value. That's about product features that really matters, and War, Peace, and IT. And this is about Agile in a broader scheme of things. DevOps, I'm going to talk about this exactly, DevOps that you think about. DevOps engineers do not exist, and DevOps teams is a huge mistake. What does exist is DevOps as a philosophy, and DevOps Right is about working together and not creating silos. Automate all the things, we already spoke about it. Release often. Even painful, that means that you are not doing it right. You need to practice more, do it more until it's not painful anymore. And feature flags are better than branch hell, and this goes back to small experimentations. You can turn features on and off on demand. Right? Write good code. That sounds actionable, right? But actually, Sandro already told us everything about it in the keynote. So just rewatch his keynote, and you will know how to write good code. My suggestions will be, don't be the guy that writes code that everybody else, including yourself, in 6 months think about who idiot that wrote it. Readable is better than clever, obviously. If it calls for a comment, it's a bad code. Refactor, bad code never gets better with time. If you see bad code, fix it right now. And technical depth will kill you before, kill it before it kills you. And obviously use monads, right, Sandra? Yep, use monads. All right, write docs, find docs. Documentation is source of truth when it is updated. The problem is we don't know where it is and how to find it. There are solutions, including AI. This is Naboo, for example, that brings documentation into where you are. So if you write code, and this code was mentioned, or a part of it was mentioned in some document, you will see this document pop up right there, so you can understand what this code is about and why. Negative thinking is a terrible thing. Optimists are happier and deliver better results. But in the code, you really should start negatively about it. Because hackers love optimistic developers. When we only think about happy path, we leave a lot of space for hackers to come in and do bad stuff. Error handling, obviously, again, something that we usually don't think that will happen with our code, but it will. And retries and fallbacks, back pressure and all this stuff is also critical. Monitoring, when things go bad, you want to know about it before users complain on the internet, so we do that. The biggest thing is the unknown unknowns. And again, that's what Sander spoke about and quoted Rumsfeld, I think, about the unknown unknowns. Yes. So, yeah, do that. Think about it. Security is a great example. As I already mentioned, it's very, very complicated. And we, as developers, don't know all the answers, but the management decides that it's up to us to do it. What we can do with unknown unknowns is delegate. For example, you can delegate security to TaxCare in terms of endless life support, but generally security consultants, security tools, and that's true for every complicated stuff that you have to deal with, is generally a very good idea. And surprisingly, you need to help your business. You need to help the managers to screw less. And for that, you need to talk their talk. They think of you as weird people that they need to control because they don't understand you. If you speak their talk, for example, instead of faster release, faster time to market, that will make them very relatable. Sarcasm, we all live and breathe. That's usually management hates it. So turn it down. And surprises are bagged. If you think about this release is going to be late, but you know what? Fuck it, I won't say anything. It will end up badly for you as well. So flag things early. And yes, meetings suck. What you can do in order to prevent meetings? Send emails. If you communicate in one form, you'll probably get a response in the same form. So if you want to say something and you don't want it to become a meeting, write an email. Right? So everything is terrible, but it doesn't have to be. It's not that Enshittification is real, and developer productivity and managerial decisions are to blame for a lot of it. And you, as a developer, can help. So with that, thank you very much. Baruch everywhere. This is Voxxed Luxembourg. Mention them when you have something to say about this talk on socials. And speaking.Baruch, the slides, the video, and all the links for everything, all the blog posts, all the books, everything is at speaking.Baruch. Thank you.